In the last 6 months, China has launched dozens of low Earth orbit satellites. It begs an obvious question. What are low Earth orbit satellites and why is China suddenly sending so many of them into space? The Americans claim that China is using its low Earth orbit satellites to spy on American military installations. As we speak, the People's Liberation Army at this moment has over 347 low Earth orbit satellites. Now, China has plans to ramp this up to over 13,500 satellites in less than a span of a decade and to emerge as the preeminent space power by knocking the United States off its perch in space. Our next report gets you the details. China presently has over 700 operational satellites, but over 347 of them are operated by the People's Liberation Army. That is, nearly half of all Chinese satellites are in direct military use. But what is giving sleepless nights to the military strategists at the Pentagon are plans of a mega constellation of a staggering 13,500 low Earth orbit satellites that China wishes to install by 2027. Dubbed as the WION, this mega constellation will be part of China's 5G mobile network. Beijing has gone on record to claim that WION is China's answer to Elon Musk's Starlink. Starting from 2019, Starlink has now built up a network of 3,500 low Earth orbit satellites that reliably provide high-speed internet to pretty much any corner of the world. On the face of it, this may look like a civilian commercial service. But as the war in Ukraine has demonstrated, Starlink's low Earth orbit satellites are the stuff that any military general commanding troops on the ground dreams of. By providing Ukrainian forces with dead accurate intelligence about Russian positions, movement of Russian soldiers and their weapon systems, the Ukrainian forces were able to strike the Russian war machine with pinpoint accuracy. So while China claims that its low Earth orbit constellation is meant only for communication purposes, almost no one is convinced, certainly not the Americans. On the 14th of March, the chief of the American Space Force, General Charles Saltzman, was honest in expressing his fears on what China can do.
The Chinese and the Russians have gone to school on us over the last 20 years, and they know that we've built a joint force structure that relies heavily on the assumption that space capabilities will be there. Whether it's our precision navigation and timing, whether it's satellite communications, the missile warning that we rely on, and the intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance persistence that we have with space capabilities, they know we rely on that. And so if they can blind us, if they can interfere with those capabilities, or God forbid, destroy them completely, they know that that will diminish our advantages and put the joint force at risk. So I can see interfering with, I can see blinding, I can see some of those gray area kinds of attacks on our capabilities to try to put us behind the 8 ball.
A satellite is said to be in low Earth orbit when it goes around the Earth at an altitude of less than 1,200 miles. Low Earth orbit satellites enjoy a number of distinct advantages. They capture high-resolution images due to their proximity to Earth. They're significantly cheaper as they can be thrust into space with smaller rockets and less propulsion. They are easier for communication and experience little to no lag in the transmission of signals. In the last 6 months, China has recorded a total of 35 space launches. That is one space launch every 5 days. The United States too is putting in place a constellation of satellites solely for the purpose of missile tracking, to effectively detect, track and strike down the Russian and Chinese hypersonic missiles. Hypersonic weapons are in a league of their own due to their speed and hyper-maneuverability. It is difficult to predict how quickly the Chinese will be able to build their mega constellation. But what we are witnessing at this moment is the world's biggest surveillance system with clear military implications unlike any that has been built before.